This is episode 107 of The Place of Sound. And for the last time, I'm your host, Kateryna Kalynovska. For those of you who are listening to us for the first time, The Place of Sound is a show that explores the themes of space and place using sound and listening. This is done through a variety of audio media production formats, so you can expect to do a few different types of listening in a single show. Episodes consist of what we refer to as audio portraits or oral history-style interviews that explore topic of home, soundscape compositions which use everyday sounds to communicate the personal and social significance of a given place, and we typically end the episode with a short documentary-style piece that explores the place-based identity of the producer. The aim with these projects is to allow the producer to think about the places that made them who they are today. These are the types of projects you can expect to hear on The Place of Sound, and all of them are produced by students here at Carleton University. They're what gets produced in COMS 4501 Digital Media Production, which is a fourth-year workshop course in the Communication and Media Studies program. Today's episode is a little different. This one is a transition. It's my last episode as host, and it's also where I get to pass the mic to the next voice behind The Place of Sound. Before we get to that interview, I want to take a few minutes to look back on this past year. I started hosting The Place of Sound in May 2025, and now at the end of April 2026, I'm handing it off, which sounds simple, like passing a microphone, like a neat little year-long arc. In reality, it's been one of those experiences that changes how you think, how you listen, and honestly, how you carry yourself in the world. When I started, I knew I liked sound. I knew I liked storytelling. But hosting this show didn't just give me experience, it rewired my brain a bit. I started noticing sound the way you notice a smell when you walk into the room. Suddenly, everything had texture: footsteps, transit noises, the weird quiet of Ottawa in winter, the way a crowd changes the second someone laughs. I started paying attention to what sound does to memory and how fast it can pull you back into a moment you thought you forgot. And it also changed how I show up around people. Over the past year, I did a lot of interviews, and a lot of them were not the calm, control kind. They were the kind where you walk into a space that's alive. People are mid-conversation, you're carrying your gear, and you're trying to politely interrupt someone's life for 5 minutes. That's an acquired skill. It teaches you confidence, but also restraint. You learn how to ask, how to listen, and how to not make it weird. Finding my host voice was probably my biggest personal project this year. And I don't mean the radio voice where you suddenly sound like you're selling luxury cars. I mean the actual voice where you know what you're doing, you trust yourself, and you can hold a conversation without panicking internally. You don't just become a host because you got assigned the role. You build it episode by episode. You learn timing, you learn when to push, when to pause, and when to stop talking, which for me was a spiritual journey. In terms of highlights, there are a few moments I'm genuinely proud of. One of them was the episode on the Afrobeats community in Ottawa. That episode came from real curiosity and respect, and it felt important to cover a community that's actively shaping culture in this city. I recorded at the Celebration Festival, and what stood out to me wasn't just the music. It was the atmosphere, people showing up for each other, people building something. And the episode at its best feels like you're there with me, hearing what I heard and understanding why it mattered. Another big highlight was the collaboration with the BMPT students. I loved creating a bridge between student-made audio and a public platform that treats it like it belongs there, because it does. Some of the strongest work I've heard this year came from students from my program, and it deserves live beyond the course submission folder. That's one of the things I hope the show keeps doing again and again. And another quieter highlight was the interview with Tonya Davidson. That one mattered to me because it felt like a real piece of show's archive. It was long, thoughtful, and grounded in Ottawa in a way I personally love. It wasn't a quick soundbite conversation. It was the kind where you walk away thinking differently about a place you thought you already knew. Now, of course, it wasn't all smooth. One of the hardest parts of hosting was deciding what to cover. Ottawa is constantly doing things. There are communities, you're building projects, running events, creating culture, pushing the city forward, and half of the time nobody hears about it unless they know someone who knows someone. Choosing what to feature isn't just a content decision, it's a responsibility. You're choosing what gets attention and what gets recorded, and what becomes part of the show's memory. The second hard part was confidence, especially in field recording. Those moments where you have to walk up to someone, introduce yourself, and ask for their voice while everything around you is loud and moving, that was stressful at first, but it got easier every time I did it. Not because I became fearless, but because I got better at being direct, being respectful, and not spiraling when someone said no. If I had to name the theme of my year as host, it would probably be community and gratitude, with a side of stubbornness. I came to Ottawa from Ukraine, and I didn't exactly choose the circumstances that brought me here. But over this year, I kept noticing how many people in the city are trying, organizing, creating, showing up, making something out of what they have. And I think that's what I try to carry into the show too. I wanted you to hear the city through people, through sound, through moments that feel lived in. I wanted you to get a glimpse of who I am and what I care about and what I'm paying attention to, not just a polished episode format. So if you listened this year, I hope you felt that. I hope the show felt human. I hope you heard the care. I hope you got pulled into a few places you wouldn't have stepped into otherwise. All right, with that said, it's time to introduce your new host. Hi, could you please introduce yourself?
Hi, my name's Chloe Rahman, but most people just call me Charlie. I'm a third-year communication student at Carleton, and I'm really interested in storytelling through sound and everyday moments.
What pulled you towards communications in Carleton?
I actually started in business at Concordia, but it was never really the right fit for me. I think I chose it because it felt like a respectable path, something that made sense on paper. But I kept coming back to creative things like writing and storytelling. Switching into communications felt like choosing something that actually fits who I am.
What is it about storytelling that keeps you coming back to it?
I think I notice things a bit differently than other people. I tend to notice people first, but mostly because I'm pretty shy. I remember being in a group once where we were asked how we'd feel if someone we knew didn't say hi, and while most people said they'd be worried about the other person being mad or even offended, I just felt relieved that I didn't have to get into a conversation. I also noticed small details, especially in writing. My mom always tells this story about how when I was 4 or 5, I'd go into stores and point out spelling mistakes on signs that she hadn't even seen. I think storytelling comes from that. Just paying attention to small things that other people might miss.
I wanted to ask, what's been taking up most of your energy lately, inside or outside school?
Lately, it's been a mix. I haven't had as much structured schoolwork, so I've been spending more time on creative projects, especially a dance film I've been working on, along with photography and putting together an episode for The Place of Sound. I've also been thinking a lot about how I spend my time. I tend to get caught up in planning and organizing, but I'm trying to shift more towards actually doing things, especially creative ones. It's kind of been a quieter in-between period where I'm figuring out what I want to focus on next.
Please tell me more about that film. What's the concept?
The film is inspired by the Chinese legend of the red string, where people who are meant to meet are connected by an invisible thread that can stretch and twist but never break. In my version, I'm exploring that idea more loosely, not just in terms of soulmates, but how people in general are connected to each other. It features 5 dancers with different styles, and the connection between them is shown through movement as it shifts and carries from one person to another.
Wow, that sounds fascinating. What's your role in this project?
I'm the director of the film. I mostly focus on setting the overall vision, what I'm looking for in terms of movement, tone, and structure. And then I work with the dancers to bring that to life. I like giving them space to interpret things in their own way, rather than controlling every detail.
I see. And what drew you to dance performance as a subject?
Honestly, it started pretty simply. Dance was something I had access to, and I was drawn to how it looked. There's something really visually interesting about movement. But the more I worked with it, the more I realized how expressive it can be, especially without relying on dialogue. It became a really natural way to explore ideas through visuals and sound.
Well, I hope to see this film when it comes out. I'm sure it will be truly captivating. Now, you're written for The Charlatan and The Leveler. What do you enjoy about writing and reporting?
I enjoy writing and reporting because it gives me a way to tell stories about the communities around me. I like talking to people and hearing about their experiences. Then, finding a way to translate that into something others can connect with. There's something really meaningful about taking individual perspectives and shaping them into a story that reflects a larger sense of community and a shared experience.
Yeah, I completely agree. I wanted to ask, how did you start writing for Charlatan?
I found out about The Charlatan through a friend, and since I've always loved writing, I decided to give it a try. I pitched my first story on Carleton's ringette team, since I used to play the sport, and it was accepted. From there, I went on to pitch and write 2 more stories, both focused on dance. Since then, I've stayed involved as a volunteer editor, and I'm hoping to apply for the photography editor position this summer.
I see. And what kind of stories do you find yourself gravitating toward?
I tend to gravitate towards community-centered stories, especially ones that highlight connections between people. I'm interested in stories that focus on shared experiences, whether that's through sports, arts, or other forms of community involvement. I like capturing how people come together and showing the human sides behind those spaces.
So when you're writing about community, what are you trying to capture for the reader?
When I'm writing about community, I'm trying to capture the sense of connection between people. I want readers to feel how individuals come together through shared experiences, shared interests, or shared spaces. I'm especially interested in the small, everyday moments that show how communities function and support one another. Ultimately, I want the reader to come away with a better understanding of the people behind the stories and the relationships that make those communities meaningful.
That's a great approach, and I'm sure it will help you with audio storytelling as well. Talking about audio, what does audio let you capture that writing doesn't?
Audio allows you to capture emotion in a more immediate way, through tone, pacing, and the way something is said, not just what is said. You can hear hesitation, excitement, or vulnerability in someone's voice, which adds another layer to the story. It also creates a more immersive experience where the listener feels closer to the speaker and the moment being shared.
What kinds of audio do you love as a listener?
I tend to gravitate towards audiobooks and music. I like audiobooks because they feel immersive, especially when the narrator brings the story to life through their voice. For example, when I listened to The House in the Cerulean Sea, the different voices and delivery made it really engaging. When I visited the book later in print, it felt noticeably less immersive. Music is something I listen to more casually, but it still shapes my mood and focus.
Oh yeah, you're totally right. I'm a huge audiobooks fan as well. To me, it's like, I don't know, watching a play in your mind, because it's so immersive and so many emotions can wade through just the intonation and sound. It's crazy. Okay, and what kinds of music are you into?
I like a mix of music, but especially artists like 21 Pilots. I tend to focus more on lyrics than the beat, so I'm drawn to music that feels emotionally honest and even a bit introspective. I like songs that balance vulnerability with energy, so there's something I can both connect to and listen to casually.
I see. I love them too. So I wanted to ask you, what's a sound that instantly anchors you in a specific place or memory?
The sound of skates on the ice, especially that sharp, rhythmic scraping, instantly anchors me. It's a sound that feels both familiar and physical, and it immediately brings me back to the time spent in arenas and on outdoor rinks.
What does it remind you of?
It reminds me of arenas and growing up playing ringette, which is a sport often compared to hockey, but uses a straight stick and a ring instead of a puck. That sound is tied to practices and games, but also to watching my brother play hockey. It also brings me back to skating on the Rideau Canal in the winter, which always felt like a special experience, usually with a beaver tail at the end.
Yeah, a sweet treat after skating on the canal sounds like the ultimate Ottawa winter experience. I hope the canal will open next year as well. So I wanted to ask, when you move through Ottawa, what do you notice first?
When I move through Ottawa, I tend to notice the atmosphere first, especially the small sounds that define a space. It's often things like footsteps, traffic in the distance, or conversations blending together that shape how a place feels for me.
I see. And where do you usually spend your time in Ottawa?
I tend to spend a lot of time in bookstores. I've always liked being around books, even though I also enjoy audiobooks. It's a different experience, but still something I find really comforting.
What do you like about those spaces?
I like how calm those spaces feel. They're not completely silent, but that's part of what makes them interesting. There's always some level of sound, chairs scraping, pages turning, or the door opening and closing. It creates a quiet atmosphere without feeling empty, which makes the space feel more alive and comfortable.
I also enjoy bookstores a lot. There's just something about the smell of paper and rustle of pages that draws you in. And now the retribution moment. It's already a stateful question for this kind of episode, so don't come for me. Natalie did this to me, so now I will pose this question to you as well. What do you hope for the future, the place of sound?
For the future of the place of sound, I'd like to explore quieter, more subtle sounds and the kinds of stories they can tell. A lot of audio focuses on obvious or high-energy moments, but I'm interested in what can be captured in quieter spaces. That could include everyday environments, small interactions, or sounds that people might not normally pay attention to. I think there's a lot of potential in slowing things down and letting those moments speak for themselves. Ultimately, I'd like to create pieces that encourage listeners to notice their surroundings differently and find meaning in sounds that might otherwise go unnoticed.
Why quiet?
I'm drawn to quieter sounds because they require a different kind of attention. They make you slow down and notice things that might otherwise be overlooked. I like the sense of anticipation that comes with quiet spaces, where even small sounds feel more significant. There's also a lot of possibility in those moments, since they leave room for interpretation and reflection. For me, quiet isn't empty. It's something that invites you to listen more closely.
I see. Well, thank you, Charlie. And yeah, I think we all need a bit more quiet in our lives. It's so busy and can be so noisy, but maybe in the quiet sounds and stories we can find some more peace. All right, back to me and my feelings. And before I wrap up for the last time, I want to do this properly. No dramatic finale, but also not a quick, okay, bye, like I'm leaving a group chat. First, thank you to everyone who gave me their time this year. Thank you to the students who shared their work. Thank you to the organizers who let me record in their spaces. Thank you to the guests who spoke with me on the mic, especially when it was loud, chaotic, or happening in real time. Every episode exists because someone was willing to show up and talk and never treated that as a small thing. And thank you to Vincent and Trisani for giving me the opportunity in the first place. This show is one of the rare experiences in school where the learning isn't theoretical. You don't just talk about sound and media. You make something real on a deadline with real constraints, and you get better because you have to. That kind of learning really stays with you. The reason I'm stepping away is simple. This is how the show works. It's not meant to belong to one person. Each host gets a year and then the mic moves on. That's the point. Someone else gets to step into it, experiment, and make it theirs, and build their own voice the same way I had to. So to Charlie, I'm excited for you. And also welcome to the part where you realize editing is a full contact sport. I hope you let yourself try things. I hope you follow your curiosity. I hope you make episodes that feel like you. And I hope you give yourself time to grow into it, because that's the whole process. As for what's next for me, I'm going back to school. I'm finishing up my co-op year and returning to the rest of my degree. I want to keep sound in my life, but I want to explore it a bit differently. This year, the show took most of my capacity, so I didn't have as much room for my own sound projects as I wanted. Moving forward, I want to spend more time learning the craft side of music production, mixing, and building my skills more deliberately. And outside of sound, I've been exploring myself through movement. Less tell a story with a microphone and more figure out what my body is doing and why it's holding stress like it's full-time job. Yoga, Pilates, learning what strength feels like in a quiet way. And yes, I've become the kind of person who gets excited about Shavasana. I know, I'm sorry, but if you're ever late there at the end of a class and felt your brain go silent for the first time all week, you get it. If you're listening and you want to be part of the show, whether you're a student with audio work, a professor with an idea, or someone with a story that belongs here, there's a Get Involved section on our website. The show stays alive because new people keep entering the orbit. And to everyone listening, thank you for being here. Thank you for letting me be part of your routine, your commute, your dishes, your late night walks, your quiet mornings, whatever moment you've been listening from. Thank you for your time, thank you for your attention, and thank you for listening closely. This has been The Place of Sound.